Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be my top 20 non-legendary heroes versus the clan boss, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so a lot of players are, it's tough to acquire legendaries, especially to get like a specific one that you're looking for, so I wanted to do a list that was more friendly for beginners to mid-game players, even end-game players that haven't had good luck with legendaries, just to break down the top champions in the game versus the clan boss to help out your team that aren't legendaries, so they are more realistic to acquire. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I will try to get through them quickly so that this video isn't 45 minutes long. So I'm not going to be doing like an in-depth guide on each champion. If you go through my channel and look at my champion guides playlist, I do have champion guides on a few of these to help you out, but I'm not gonna go super in depth 5 minutes on every hero because I don't want to make the video take exceedingly long. But first honorable mention is going to be in the sacred order, and it is going to be the uncommon Outlaw Monk. If you are a new player especially, you should build one or two of these. I'm not saying to 6-star them, but take them to 5-star, 1 or 2 Outlaw Monks. When I was a new player, I actually used 2 Outlaw Monks for like 6 weeks just to get that introductory poison damage against the clan boss to help out my team when I was a new player. He's got an A1 that grants an extra turn every now and then, and the most important thing is an A2 here that places a bunch of poisons for you. So a really good champion versus the clan boss for newer players out there. All right, and then let's go ahead and jump into it. These aren't in any specific order. I basically just went down the list, so they aren't ranked 1 through 20 or in alphabetical order or anything. They're just in the order I came across them in the player index. So first, let's start off here with Royal Guard in the High Elves. So Royal Guard is going to be good because of an A1 that decreases defense, and then an A2 that attacks all enemies and does damage according to enemy max HP, which means it's going to hit very hard against the clan boss. And then even the A3 here is pretty good in dungeons, but it actually doesn't do anything against the clan boss. The Aura is increased ally attack in dungeons by 35%, so not going to help versus the clan boss. But Royal Guard is a pretty, generally useful hero, and also very good versus the clan boss for newer to mid-game players. Next is going to be Tyrell. Probably, one of the best characters on this list, but Tyrell is amazing. He is endgame viable versus the clan boss. He's got an A1 that decreases attack, which is a very pivotal role versus the clan boss. And, also it decreases defense, and the sleep won't work against the clan boss. And the decreased turn meter won't work against the clan boss, but he does have a really good A1 that decreases attack. And he's got an Aura that will work against the clan boss to help out defense of your whole team. So just a very solid pick to bring against the clan boss. Next, I'm going to go with Thanasil and put him on this list. He's his A2, which is going to increase defense on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, and then heal all allies by 25% of this champion's max HP. So his A2 Oakskinned is very good, especially if you don't want to use the lifesteal set, you're going to need a source of sustain, and Thanasil is going to be one of the best in the game for helping you sustain. It doesn't bring a whole lot of utility other than that. But yeah, as I'm looking through here, basically no other utility other than great base speed, and this Oakskin ability is really going to help you sustain against the clan boss. Next is actually one of the more used champions, especially in the early to mid game, Apothecary. Apothecary is really good versus the clan boss because of an A3 that hits 3 times, so it will scale well with Giant Slayer. And then he's also got a single target heal that can crit, so if you get him good crit chance, you can use 1 or 2 people that don't use lifesteal and he'll be able to keep them up. He also boosts the speed and the turn meter of your whole team. So, 3 very useful abilities there versus the clan boss. The Aura will not work, and he's got an amazing base speed of 106. Alrighty. Next, let's hop over to the Sacred Order and Juliana. Juliana is an amazing DPSer against the clan boss because she's got an A1 that will fill her turn meter on critical hits, and then her A3 is going to place an HP burn. HP burn is awesome versus the clan boss, but one thing to note about HP burn is it does not stack. So you can't bring like 2 or 3 champions that do HP burn, or you're getting diminishing returns. So you wouldn't want to pair Juliana with another champion that does HP burn. All right, who's next on my list here? Aethar, right next to her. Aethar's got an A1 that will steal a random buff. Not great versus the clan boss. He's mostly known for his A2 Holy Flame. Attack 4 times, and each hit places a 5% poison for 2 turns. So Aethar, one of the best poisoners in the game versus the clan boss. The A3 is not going to do anything, and the aura is okay. It does at least work against the clan boss, but usually increasing attack isn't something we're super excited about in the clan boss. All right, next let's go to Ogre and Tribes, and let's just start here with Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher is an amazing epic because getting whole team counterattack is very tough to get in this game. There's basically only Skull Crusher, and then the other 2 are legendaries, Martyr and Valkyrie. So, an A1 here that places heal reduction doesn't really do anything versus the clan boss, but this stone wall that places ally protection on all allies and counterattack, and then an unkillable on Skull Crusher. This is great for the clan boss, especially if you design a team to work well with counterattack. You're going to want to pick champions that have really good A1s. And then a passive, decrease the duration of all debuffs on this champion at the start of each turn. Not really that great versus the clan boss. He's mainly great because of this Stonewall ability and the counterattack. Alrighty, so next is going to be Man-Eater. So Man-Eater can fill the decreased attack role. You generally want to always have a decreased attack champion on your clan boss team, and Man-Eater can slot into that. But he also, Turn Meter is not really going to work. He will place an unkillable buff and a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, which can be useful. It's not super consistent value, but it's at least there. He's mainly used for his, decreased attack role if you don't have like a Tyrell. I do think a Tyrell would be better than Man-Eater, but I had to throw him on this list because he can slot into that role. Occult Brawler is a really good DPSer for the clan boss because he places a ton of poisons. Attack 1 enemy, 50% chance of placing a 5% poison. We can buff that up to 60% with books. So a really good A1 there that works well with counterattack. And then, this ability is pretty crazy. I don't really want to go over it. It would take me like 3 minutes to go over this, but it doesn't really do that much against the clan boss. So mainly he's amazing because of his passive. He places a 2.5% poison debuff on himself for 4 turns at the start of each turn, but has a 70% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. So that's a pretty good chance, and it's going to be placing for 4 turns. Normally poisons are 2, sometimes 3. He places 1 for 4. So as long as you've got some sustain and some healing on your team, Occult Brawler can do an absolute ton of damage. Next, let's hop over to the Lizardmen and go over Jareg. I really like Jareg because he's got an A1 that decreases attack, which is really good, especially in like a counterattack team, and it's good consistent value. He's also going to do ally protection and increase defense on all allies, which is handy. And the passive is place a 15% continuous heal buff on an ally for 1 turn whenever they lose 20% of their max HP in 1 hit, which happens a lot versus the clan boss. So he'll have a really good consistent sustain. And then he also has an aura that is HP in all battles, which will work against the clan boss. So Jareg is a very good, just generally useful hero against the clan boss. And next, let's go. I think we have a rare. Yeah, Bogwalker. Bogwalker is another one that can slot into the decreased attack role, and he is a rare, so he's very easy to acquire. Well, I shouldn't say very easy, but he's much more realistic to acquire for beginner players to get Bogwalker. And if you play long enough, you will probably get one for sure. So he can slot into that decreased attack role until you get like a Tyrell or something. And he's also going to increase defense on all allies. Reflect damage doesn't really do a whole lot. It's good versus the Fire Knight, but not really against the clan boss. And the aura won't do much. So again, he's one of those that's mainly useful for the decreased attack roll and a little bit of sustain. Alrighty, next on the list is going to be Flesh Terror. I think this one is a little bit underrated by the community in general. I think he's pretty decent because we've got an A1 here that has a chance of transferring a random debuff from the champion to the target, so that can be pretty cool for like dungeons and stuff. Not super useful against the clan boss, but he's got an A2 that heals all allies by 30% and increases the duration of all buffs. So if you've got a continuous heal buff or a speed buff, something like that, Flesh Terror is going to increase that by 1 turn. That can be very useful. Also, an A3 that attacks all enemies and decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn and increases the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn. So very cool A2 and A3 on Flesh Terror, and I think he's worth, giving a look for your clan boss team, especially if you're kind of, wondering about who to use and don't have a super endgame team. Flesh Terror is one that's pretty cool to play around with. Alrighty, so next is going to be Yaga. Where's my Yaga? Right here. Alright, Yaga is basically, he's one of the guaranteed champions that you're able to get as a new player. If you just log in, I believe he's a daily login reward that you can get, and he's going to place a lot of poisons and do some decent damage as a damage dealer against the clan boss. An A1 that places a 5% poison for 2 turns. That's good with like counterattack champions as well. And then the A2 is also going to place a poison pretty consistently, and then even the A3 is going to have damage increased against targets under poison, which the clan boss always will be, so it should hit decently hard. He also has an aura, increased ally accuracy in all battles by 40. This can be this can be handy against the clan boss, especially in those earlier difficulties when you don't have your Great Hall giving you a bunch of accuracy yet. That can help you out because it is all battles. Alright, Steel Skull is kind of similar to Tyrell, one of the best champions on this list, and definitely endgame viable. The 111 base speed is crazy. The A1 is really good with counterattack champions. It's going to be placing poisons as an A1, which is always great. The A2, remove all debuffs from a target ally, heal them by 40%, a good source of sustain there. And then the A3 is place a huge increased defense buff on all allies and heal all allies by 20%. So Steel Skull, just great speed and good general utility against the clan boss. Alright, next let's hop over to the Oryx, and I want to go over a Verask. He's got an A1 that attacks 1 enemy and fills turn meter by 20% if critical, so very good A1 there. The A2 is pretty lame, doesn't really do much. He is mainly known for his passive, which is heal all allies by 10% of this champion's HP when inflicting a critical hit. So gonna pair really well with the A1 here that fills his turn meter. As long as you make sure you're critting with Verask, you can heal a decent amount and get some good sustain for your whole team if you're able to, stack enough crit and HP on him. And then the aura only works for dungeons, but just kind of a general, sustain hero to help you survive and not be so dependent on the lifesteal set. All right, now let's go Demon Spawn and Padma. Padma is awesome. She's got good base speed, and then she slots into that decrease attack role. She's probably the best at that role. She can keep decrease attack up on a wide scale very consistently. Not a whole lot of utility outside of that. She'll hit decently hard because she's a defense champion, and she's really good for dungeons, but as far as the clan boss, she's mainly used for the decrease attack role, and she is very good at that role. Let's go Dark Elves and go with Kale first. Kale is a starting champion, and he can absolutely dominate the early game. He's going to be hitting very hard, placing a lot of poison, and he's also got an aura that increases HP of your whole team for the clan boss. So yeah, we've got an A1 that lands poison, and then we've also got an A3 that places a bunch of poison. So in terms of a rare versus the clan boss, Kale is one of the best out there. And Coldheart, also another rare. Coldheart is very cool because of her A1 that hits 4 times. So it pairs very well with the Giant Slayer Mastery. And then she's also very known for her Heart Seeker ability. Is going to hit very hard against the clan boss because it's based on enemy max HP, like I talked about Royal Guard earlier in the video. You know, she won't manipulate the clan boss's turn meter, but she will hit very hard with that ability. And then I wanted to go over Painkeeper. Painkeeper, good base speed. She's got an A1 that fills turn meter, so that's very good. And then, you know, this A2 here is going to be a good source of sustain. It's going to heal all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP, so we get a lot of HP on her, and 15% is a pretty decent chunk. So another, you know, kind of similar to a Verask, she can really help your team sustain a little bit better and not be so dependent on the lifesteal set. Also, just to boot, she's got this ability here that we can get to a 4-turn cooldown that will decrease the cooldowns of all ally skills. So a pretty generally useful character that was worth putting on this list versus the clan boss. And then I want to go over Golden Reaper. Golden Reaper is an epic and the Knight Revenant. And yeah, mainly amazing because of her A1. Attack one enemy with, you know, we can get this up to a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of one of a random ally skills by 1 turn. Very cool A1. I think that's very fun to use, and Golden Reaper is a very cool character because of that. The A2 also has a chance of placing a decreased attack, which is also very good versus the clan boss. And then she'll also, just to boot, she'll place a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns and boost turn meters every 3 turns. So Golden Reaper also has a 111 speed, so I really couldn't keep her off of this list. She is definitely one of the best epics in the game and can also perform well against the clan boss. So that's going to kind of do it for this video on kind of my top 20 non-legendary, you know, champions versus the clan boss. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm sure I, you know, left somebody off that you think should have been on here, or I included somebody that you think I shouldn't have. So let me know. I always enjoy hearing your input. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.